Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Kels Bravo.
It's your boy, I'll be skinny.
Yeah, get in. Who are you with?
Camarina.
Camarine. You know what I'm saying? And today we're watching, I was about to say, an anime. That's what I was about to say. Let's say anime. Nah, today we're motherfucking watching a reaction video. Well, wow.
No, we're in the reaction video. Today, we are watching what is anime and what isn't.
You get me? Yo, don't smoke too many thorns before you like actually works. It fucks with your brain cells, you know what I'm saying? But hey, don't smoke tobacco. That's all that matters. Just stay away from the tobacco.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, motherfucker. Honestly, I fuck with anime, and I definitely fuck with cartoons. Growing up, just watching both of them, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna cap, at one point in time, I thought there was, you know what I'm saying, the same thing. And then, once I started, like, growing up and learning actual vocabulary and shit like that, you know what I'm saying, meaning of shit, you know, I was like, damn, like, it's really different, like, and then it's, like, different type of, like, you know what I'm saying?
My
like,
thing is, how I looked at it was kind of like cartoons versus anime. Cartoon is more like, damn, I don't know, because it can go in so many different ways. The way I want to say it is more like friendly.
Cartoon is like something we grew up on, like Rocket Power or Codename Kids Next Door type of shit.
Yeah.
Anime probably like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto, something like that. Kind of stuff like that.
But my thing is, like, what necessarily makes them different?
Different. Because they're all drawings that essentially, right?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, like, is it the art style? Is it motherfucking, like, I don't know.
Hopefully this
I feel like it's really the concept of it, really. It's like cartoons is meant to be taken as a joke. Well, I don't know, because there's some serious cartoons.
Exactly. Very serious.
But I feel like anime is mainly more to be taken serious. There's the ones, you know what I'm saying, like battling, like Dragon Ball Z and Naruto and shit. But there's also the ones about love and stuff like that. So, and there's also cartoons about just some bullshit. And there's the ones about love. There's the ones
they just
about,
have like
damn.
They have the same storyline, but it's like just different. I guess drawings, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, or the dimensional, like the figures and shit like that.
That's
like,
what I'm thinking. But at the same time, there's over 100,000 damn cartoon writers or drawers, and there's over 100,000 anime drawers. So what fine line? There's some fine line where they're crossing each other's shit and
you know what I'm saying? You getting deep in the pot, man.
Nah,
you getting deep in the pot. Let's hopefully this video explains all our questions, man. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
These are some deep questions. Like I said, we need some curious niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? Curious Georges over here, man. So let's get up into it, man. Oh shit, man.
Anime is a Japanese colloquialism which comes from shortening the word animation. For the most part, in Japanese, anime is synonymous with animation of any kind, just as in English, cartoon is virtually synonymous with animation of any kind. On a technical...
Okay, alright. I was about to say that. I was about to say, alright, wouldn't both of them technically be around animation? But, you know, since we got it established, we'll just keep it going.
level, there is no inherent distinction between anime and cartoons, but on a cultural level, these words have different connotations, especially in the English language. Anime is most typically used to refer to cartoons which come from Japan, and because many fans of anime aren't necessarily fans of cartoons from other countries, calling oneself an anime fan usually refers to being particularly interested in Japanese cartoons exclusively. However,
damn, I forgot to say that, honestly.
Honestly, I thought all cartoons was like anime. I thought all animations were Asian oriented. You know what I'm saying? Like some like over there, like they did all the drawings, the cartoon, like the digital, everything like that, and then they just sent it back over here. Like we just direct.
Yeah.
I honestly thought that's how it went. That's crazy.
That was my thing. Like
that's tough.
When I really do think about shit like that, because even Dragon Ball Z, it was first. I feel like it was first in Korea or somewhere like that, and then it got American like
Americanized.
yeah, put the American person talking behind it instead of
Yo,
like,
that's crazy that you said that, because I swear I've heard that, and like, because the script originally for Dragon Ball Z is in like Korean or Japanese.
Yeah,
per
I
se.
forgot which one
You know
it
what
is,
I'm
so
saying?
you know what I'm saying.
That's
My
really
fault if I said it
tough.
wrong.
That's really tough.
Yeah, shit gets real crazy.
Shit can get really like switched up over here. You know what I'm saying? It's
For real.
not all sweet over here.
For in recent years, as Japanese cartoons have become more influential even on shows in the West, a lot of debate has been waged over whether or not the term anime can be used to describe cartoons from other countries. Here, I am going to argue in favor of the idea that the only debatably meaningful application of the term
It's anime.
That's what I was about to say, because technically it was like kind of battle-like, and it was Teen Titans originally came from, I swear, over like,
Really?
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Wow. That's tough.
Like, I swear that, like,
That's I thought that was like on some DC Universe type shit like that.
I swear all this stuff like made in China and everything is just like, they really be having everything before us, and then shit just gets passed down to us, and then it gets put into more like our business system, I guess.
It gets Americanized. That's
Yeah.
the word. Americanized.
Yeah, but damn, that shit.
That's
Yeah,
cool. That's high.
it's pretty decent. But it's crazy, like Teen Titans, like anime.
Yeah, my mind is blown because, like, now, like, bro, it was yesterday on Christmas. No, I got together with my family on Christmas Eve. I saw my nephew and everything, and I was watching TV. It was like Teen Titans Go or some bullshit like that, bro.
That whack
But they
ass
got
shit.
some big ass heads or some shit like that. Like,
That whack ass
nigga,
shit.
I'm sitting here like, yo, what the fuck? Like, this is not the real Teen Titans, yo. Like,
Not
these
at all.
niggas are too soft. Like,
That shit got watered down like fuck.
like a bitch, yo. Like, that's crazy, dude.
They
Like,
ruined the old. They probably made so much more money off of it, but they really
Oh,
ruined the
fuck
Teen
that,
Titans
bro.
franchise. Like
Yeah,
for the
dude.
real people that fuck
yeah,
with Teen
like,
Titans.
you can't even look at them the same. Like, they all Cyborg, not even a big. Like,
Yeah.
nah, like, your big
He's
boy,
just a-
not even a real big boy. Like, he's a fly
They
boy.
all some goofies.
Yeah.
Like,
And Raven just like, I don't know,
she ain't
like,
even as bitchy anymore.
nah, dude, like, she's just like a sweet bitch, like a nice bitch. Like,
Yeah, bitch.
That shit's not cool. Like, it's not cool. Nah, I'm not fucking with it at all.
For real.
Nah.
anime is in applying it to Japanese cartoons exclusively. From the ground up, Japanese cartoons were always influenced by Western cartoons. The father of anime and manga himself, Osamu Tezuka, cited the works of Walt Disney as his biggest influence, and a lot of really old manga and really old Western cartoons are basically indistinguishable. Just look at Betty Boop next to Astro Boy, for instance. However, for a long time, the stylistic development of anime and manga was kind of insular, because not a lot of anime and manga
So, that's real tough. Astro Boy and Betty Boo. When I was little, I ain't gonna cap at one point in time. I thought it was like brother and sister. Just because they look so similar.
Hold on, go. Can you run that back? Honestly, I missed it.
No, you good. It's like the person basically who's like started
Oh,
the animation shit like that. The person who started animation basically looked up to the West. Like, they got their ideas and everything, inspiration from the West. Walt Disney and all that, like American basically people. You know what I'm saying? He looked up to like Walt Disney, all them people like that. As you see, like, that's like a Disney character. And he, you know what I'm saying, based it off of her. And they look similar, you know what I'm saying? That's
you
animation,
mean
that's
like
cartoon.
like she was based off of him?
No, he was based off of her. Because she's the Disney character, the Wesley character, and he's the animated character.
So
Anime.
the Disney one came first?
Yeah, Disney. Walt Disney's been around, bro. Walt Disney's been around for a grip.
Damn.
Wait, Disney World been around. Mickey Mouse, what? Mickey Mouse started this whole really cartoon shit. For real, for real.
Yeah, that is
Mickey
true.
Mouse
That
really
was.
started this whole everything. Boy, Mickey Mouse the king of this shit. Still going strong to today. Boy, bringing in millions.
Somebody got to justify that one.
What?
I need somebody to say something in the comments.
Say I'm wrong. No disrespect to any anime, like, you know what I'm saying? If y'all watching this, I'll fuck with anime too. But bro, speaking facts right now, let's be real. Mickey Mouse has been around. This video, dude, listen.
are always influenced by Western cartoons. The father of anime and manga himself, Osamu Tezuka, cited the works of Walt Disney as his biggest influence, and a lot of really old manga and really old Western cartoons are basically indistinguishable. Just look at Betty Boop next to Astro Boy, for instance. However, for a long time, the stylistic development of anime and manga was kind of insular, because not a lot of anime and manga made their way outside of Japan. So while Western cartoons were still permeating and influencing Japanese culture, the anime and manga which became influential to generations of Japanese artists mostly remained influential just within that country. Only in recent years, with anime and manga slowly permeating into world culture from the late 90s until now, has Japanese art started to have a big cultural influence throughout the world, to the point that shows like Avatar, Teen Titans, and the Boondocks all have a distinctive anime influence. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. One of the big...
That is facts. The one I was thinking about as far as like Cartoon Network and shit is Boondocks. That shit really does have an anime style to it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's like nigga type shit, like some nigga comedy.
Boondocks are going crazy.
Yeah, that shit was high.
biggest things that a lot of people don't appreciate about anime and manga is that it covers an incredibly broad range of styles. A lot of people really don't understand this because they're mostly familiar with shows that have become popular in the West through channels like Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and Kids WB. Pulling from this pool of samples, it might seem like all anime kind of have the same aesthetic, but it's really more that these channels are always going to pick the same kinds of shows to broadcast. Most of what gets brought to Western TV is shows aimed at young boys or young men, almost always with an action-centric storyline. Very rarely do we get shows aimed at young women or little girls, or out there art house shows, or shows aimed towards a more general adult audience. I've seen it argued a few times that certain Japanese shows should be considered cartoons instead of anime because they showcase a lot of cartoon influence and don't look as anime as other shows, with panty and stocking being the most frequently mentioned thing of this nature. These kind of statements, though, come from a very small frame of reference that ignores just how many different ways anime can look, and how many different influences anime can have. Panty and stocking may be a lot more obvious since it makes blatant references to Western cartoons, but it's far from the only show to have a strong Western influence. If the word anime is only really helpful to those trying to signify their fandom of Japanese cartoons specifically in the first place, then there's no sense in limiting which Japanese cartoons can be considered anime, as most anime fans appreciate shows from a variety of styles. This then leaves us with the question of whether or not Western cartoons like Legend of Korra should be considered anime. From a stylistic perspective, I would certainly say that shows like Korra have a clear anime influence, though I would also say that there are some obvious concerns of Western influences. While the character designs look pretty anime, the style of fight direction and animation looks much more Western, creating more of a cultural blend.
I ain't gonna cap. This is one of the things that like I can't really react to. This is one of the things I'd end up like 2, 3 a.m. like at night, just a random video I'll pop on and I'm just sitting there just like really just watching it. Just
That's
like,
what I was thinking. I was like, damn, I'm really reacting to it. I'm getting hella knowledge right now. And if y'all still watching this with me, like, I respect y'all. Like,
facts.
definitely, like, y'all really in it to win it. Like,
facts.
going for the prize.
Niggas is really trying to like this shit is going crazy right
Going
now.
for the prize, baby. But look, so, like, Avatar. I fuck with Avatar, but they remade Avatar, too, on Nickelodeon.
Did they?
At one point, I feel like they did, and I didn't like it at all.
I never liked Avatar. I'm not gonna lie. I hated Avatar. Never watched it. Well, I would try to watch episodes, but that shit was so boring.
Avatar going crazy. I hate never was.
I hated Avatar. I hated what's the blue nigga? Oh, he Avatar too. I hated that Avatar too.
Yeah, no, that's going
That's crazy. I hated
that's
both of
going
them
crazy.
niggas.
Nah, look, what they said, it was like, brand new Yip got no keys. You know what I'm saying? Because Yip, the nigga like, Yip.
Oh, that was his big, what the fuck was that shit?
Appa. I think.
That's what the type of animal it was?
I think that's that nigga's name. I don't know. That's what the nigga called him, I think.
He said he killed though, did though.
I forgot.
An outright adherence to anime style. However, to argue that Korra looks different from what is typical of anime is no different than pointing out how it's similar to anime. Both cases ignore the fact that some anime shows do have more Western facets of animation, often intentionally. Shows like Big O Season 2 and Afro Samurai were intentionally made to look Western in their animation styles, so this kind of cultural cross-promotion goes both ways. My real issue with considering Legend of Korra to be anime isn't the things that make it different from anime, so much as the idea that anime is defined by looking a certain way. If a Japanese cartoon has Western influence, we still call it anime. So if a Western cartoon has anime influence, I see no reason to consider it anything other than a Western cartoon. A lot of people cite the fact that shows like Legend of Korra and the Boondocks are largely animated in Korea, which is also true of a lot of anime, but it's also just like true of a lot of cartoons in general. Studios in Korea, the Philippines, Thailand, and probably other places I'm not aware of do a lot of in-between work on animations from around the world. Where it really gets confusing to me, though, is when you start trying to figure out intended audiences. Legend of Korra, Teen Titans, and the Boondocks were clearly created to be played on TV in English-speaking countries first and foremost, and may have been adapted into other languages later. Likewise, most anime is made for Japan and then is later brought elsewhere. However, shows like the aforementioned Big O2 and Afro Samurai and even Space Dandy are sometimes made with both a Japanese and English audience in mind at once. Then you've got stuff like the Animatrix and Halo Legends, which are made entirely by Japanese creators and studios, but for a Western audience first. What about Trigger's upcoming series Ninja Slayer, which is an adaptation of an American webcomic being made for a Japanese audience? Or the original Transformers, which was written and broadcast in the US, but had a lot of influential animators from Japan work on it. Once you start looking into the backgrounds and intentions of different anime productions, it gets harder and harder to determine what goes where. To me, it makes the most sense to look at the creative staff behind the show and figure out what background they come from, and to simply look at where the show was first released. If it's a show made by an anime studio and was released in Japan either before or at the same time as it was released elsewhere, then it's probably anime. If it was made by Americans for American television, then it's probably not anime. American directors have worked on shows like Tekken Kincrete, and Japanese directors have worked on shows like Adventure Time. But I think as long
So basically, if you're American or have anything to do with America, you can't have anything. Yeah, you don't make anime. Like, that's basically what I just heard.
Yeah.
Like, no. You make cartoons, nigga. You don't classify as anime.
Yeah, I was about to say anime is we said Japanese, or yeah, Japanese, and then cartoons American.
I didn't know that Adventure Time had a Japanese creator, but when you really think about it, like, that shit's hard. Like, there's a lot of shit on there. Like,
yeah, it's facts. Niggas in the fucking. That the nigga with the dog and shit.
yeah.
Yeah, that niggas was going crazy.
Yeah, them niggas really
was going crazy.
really doing shit.
That was a tough show. I ain't gonna lie, like that was looking. I ain't gonna lie. I was growing then, but still, like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, when I was hot up, when I was still, you know what I'm saying, just watching. Hey, it was a show to watch. You know what I'm saying? But now I don't even watch TV. You know what I'm saying? So fuck that shit. But
the staff is mostly from the same country as the show is being made for, it's probably that country's show. I still don't know what to do about Transformers, though. Of course, all of this is totally pedantic and pointless to really debate. The only reason any of it means anything is that some people want to be able to clearly define their hobby, and I don't think it's really worth splitting hairs over. It's not like being able to call Legend of Korra anime changes anything about the show whatsoever, so there's no point in arguing. I just wanted to thought dump my perspective on the whole conversation here and maybe get you thinking about it in a different way. And in case you're wondering, yes, there are hardcore cartoon fans in Japan who debate over the exact same shit. This video was edited by The Devu, and I have...
Shout out to him. But that is facts. Fuck trying to classify it for what it is and what you think it is. Just enjoy it for what the hell it really is. And just enjoy it.
honestly, this was an informational video.
Yeah, this is a dope ass video.
Yeah, like, I don't even know if y'all niggas really fuck with cartoons, like anime, like, you know what I'm saying, like that. If y'all don't, y'all probably had a born ass childhood, like, you know what I'm saying, you can't be out here thugging all the time, you know what I'm saying, you got slow down and chill sometimes, you know what I'm saying, just go to slow lane, chill, turn to the right, you know what I'm saying, but, shit was dope, definitely, y'all. Like I said, definitely informational. I mean, I kind of had a jits that it was like anime came from Japan and everything like that off rip, just because like Dragon Ball Z, like I don't know, Dragon Ball Z is really the main show that really just gave me the feeling like, yeah, like all this is coming from the West. And then I don't know, I thought, like I said, first all cartoons came from the West for like everything, but I mean Mickey Mouse probably like the only. It's probably like the only American cartoon, like the only American thing that they had here. Everything else came from the West, you know what I'm saying? Walt Disney. I think that's his name.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying? No, that's definitely informational. If y'all like what y'all saw, you know what I'm saying? If y'all still stuck with us, you know what I'm saying? You was in it to win it. You won it, you know what I'm saying? You got the information, you know what I'm saying? Run off with it. You know what I'm saying? Do something with it. I don't know. Don't use it all at once. Motherfucker, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all that, man. Till next time, YouTube.
We out there, babe.
Get it.